Hey guys, this is Sean Waller, also known as Showing Your Realtor. Continue to educate yourself because this business is always evolving. Just continue to learn. With it, talk to you guys later. Welcome to the Strictly Free Game Podcast. I am Sean Waller, also known as Showing Your Realtor. Whatever you want to call me, just make sure you call me. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, notifications, all that good stuff. I am here with someone that I've known for, wow, it's been a while now. It's been at least 10 years.
At least 10 years.
At least 10 years. We met in different settings. When I was doing property management, Rita was actually living in the property that I was managing.
That's right.
At that point. And she's always been like a straight shooter, so I love having conversations with Rita. But you're doing different things now.
I am.
Well, before I introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sean. And yeah, thanks for bringing up the history. It has been 10 years. Wow.
It's been a while.
Time flies. You and I just instantly connected when I rented in that expensive building because I recognized your realness too. You know, you were sincere, you were genuine, and I just recognized that and wanted to maintain a rapport and a relationship with you. So thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rita Brown. And yes, I am here. When I met Sean 10 years ago, I was actually in leadership with media advertising. And since then, I have transitioned into a full-time interior design career.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a big shift.
Huge shift,
That's
right?
A huge shift.
I started out selling radio for Hot 97 and WBLS, and that was 100% commission based. I was extremely successful. If you can sell air, because let's talk about it. Commercials are really essentially selling 30 seconds or 60 seconds of air time. So if I could sell Fortune 500 companies into buying air, I can definitely sell clients into interior design and making their home custom and unique to their individual lifestyles.
So it's a shift, but I can always say I've always seen your eye for design because I remember your apartment. So there was always, we used to have to do like different things when we went to the apartments, but I remember going into Rita's, I'm like, yo, Rita's apartment is always the dopest, you had the dopest apartment in the building.
Thank you, thank you.
So what made you go from selling air, basically, to now getting into this design space?
Yeah, sure. Quick funny story. I've always been passionate about interior design. Like that's been my thing. As a kid watching Candace Olsen on HGTV and just loving her design style. I actually honestly stumbled into the media career. A cousin of mine was in media, mentioned the job to her supervisor, and they interviewed me and loved me. And from there, I quickly just kind of rose in the ranks to an executive position. But all along while doing that and growing myself in media, I've always done interior design projects on the side.
Wow.
So from always tackling my own apartments or having friends having me redo like their bathroom or their kitchen, I've always done it on the side. So much so to the point that even though I was working at WBLS Hot 97, I lived and my passion was evident about design, that our general manager at the time allowed me to work with their professional designer to redesign the offices.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, you know what's better. Part of my huge design style is being able to have a conversation with someone, gaining your personality really fastly and assessing your style, right? Wow. And so because I worked with these people at WBLS and Hot 97 for so long, I knew them very well. And so when it came time for them and their busy schedules, they were like, Rita, work with Stephanie from Benjamin Home and Rugs and design our offices. Wow. And so that was my first commercial space design. And so now that I have the opportunity to just full on design full time, I love it. I'm excited to take on more residential projects, more commercial projects. I want to work with builders. For me, a lot of designers are often interior designers and they don't necessarily touch the building aspect of it. I love the building aspect of it. So I am more of a builder designer. Okay. So I have done, for example, you mentioned we met when I lived in the building that you were managing at the time. 7 years ago, I bought my house in the neighborhood. I
remember that.
And
you did I was going to mention that. So when you purchased your property, and I remember you telling me, you was like showing, it took a while for the renovation, right?
About 8 months.
Yeah, and I remember I'm like, Rita, what are you doing to the house? You was like, Sean, I'm doing it from the roof to the basement. We're
full on gut job.
Everything.
Full on gut job. It ironically was around the corner from where I was renting in your management office. And it was a 46-year-old house when we bought it. literally had the same siding on there. When I went inside the house, I mean, I could literally take the fireplace and move it to another side. It had, I thought I walked into like that 70s show. It had the ugly brown and like kind of yellow mixed pattern shag carpet that was horribly stained. It had the faux pebble walls. It was just like a step back into that 70s show, right? But I immediately fell in love with it. When I was talking to the woman that owned it at the time, she might have been like 86. You know, she sat there looking cute and adorable. And I just started crying in the middle of my sentence and telling her that her house was beautiful. And I just knew at that moment that this was my house. This was going to be my big project that I was going to showcase my skill set. And so we bought the house. Long story short, we completely gutted it down to the studs.
I remember that. Everything
top to bottom, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. We actually converted it. Because the building that I was living, it was a luxury building that you were managing. I was used to having an ensuite bath. This house did not have an ensuite because it was such an older build house. I demoed the small 4th bedroom that was attached to my master bedroom and opened it and converted it into a master suite, an ensuite bathroom. So we converted, we did a lot in there. We took down walls, we opened up rooms, we created.
Now, did you go to school for any of this stuff?
I didn't go to school for any of it, right? So someone said to me a long time ago that God gifted me with vision, right? And that really resonated with me because it's just true. It's my style. Like I could look at you, like I said, and just kind of assess your style. And then most designers have to, you know, I mean, I do a mood board because it's what the client wants to see. Oftentimes, just because I can see the vision doesn't mean that the client can see the vision. That's most people don't see the full picture. They have to see it when it's all done.
See it it's laid out.
I could literally be talking to you, and as I'm talking to you and listening to you and your style and your likes and how your family basically lives on a daily and what functionality means to you, I am already in my head envisioning your design, right? I could literally see the sofa, the type of sofa that I want to put in there. I can see where it's going to be placed. I can see if I'm going to add wallpaper. I just really start to see the full room. And so I've always been fortunate to work with clients who literally say, here, Rita, here's $20,000. Here's $60,000. We're too busy. You know, we trust you. We know you have the vision. Go for it. I don't need to approve, right?
Yeah, because you don't have people on your toes all the time. I could say this for my wife. I'm saying this to my wife. My wife would be on, not on your toes, but my wife, she has a lot of design ideas too, but whatever, I'm not going to, babe, I love you, I'm not going to.
I'm like, listen, I don't blame your wife because I feel like people should have some input, right? Because you're going to live there. Ultimately, it's a collaboration when I work with the client. But I do have some clients that are just super busy or just do not have an eye for it. They know they like glam, they know they like luxury, and they know that I can get that for them. So they just give me the budget and the freedom to do what I want to do. They also have clients who literally want to approve everything that you do. Right? They want to make the purchases that you pick out. You know, they don't give you the budget. Those clients are more challenging to work with, but it doesn't matter, right? It's their budget, it's their home, and they have the right to be picky. They have the right to oversee the project as much as they feel like they need to.
There's a big difference between a designer and a contractor. Right?
That's been like a conversation that comes up constantly. I work with a lot of different contractors depending on the project, the size of the project, and the scope of the work. Oftentimes what I run into are, because contractors are so used to working with residential clients on their own, you're going to do a project in your house, you want to remodel your kitchen, you want to redo your floors, whatever the project is, you're naturally going to first think to reach out to a contractor, which you should, right? And oftentimes you don't include a designer. So the contractor, while he's doing the labor, you want to make sure he's licensed and have good skill set and does all your finishes to perfection. But now he's forced to act as a designer because you as the homeowner, you're buying your tiles, you're buying your flooring, you're picking out paint, and you're naturally going to the contractor that's in your house working on something going, hey, what do you think of this tile? What do you think of this paint color? And so they're now being forced to act as designers, which they're not,
That's
right?
not their skill set.
That's not their skill set. And you don't have to be trained as a designer necessarily. I think that was like the myth back in like the day where people felt
That's
like, oh, did you go to the institute? Right. You know, there's so many people successful right now that have come out, like Joanna Gaines, you know, all these people are super successful, haven't gone there. So if you have a talent, you have a talent. And so designers, I think the disadvantage for a homeowner is now they're forcing a contractor to act in a dual role of doing the labor and making sure it's great, and then also helping them pick out patterns and tiles. The problem with that is, they're thinking of the room that they're doing right now. They're not thinking holistically of the overall house, right? And how each room has to cohesively complement the other, right? And so I think, it's a disadvantage for a homeowner that's hiring a contractor that doesn't also bring in a designer. Because of, like I said, first and foremost, to have that cohesive flow and designer look throughout your whole house, right? Now, a designer has all kinds of benefits that they can offer you when they're purchasing your materials, right? Designers also going to make sure that they oversee the contractor. You're working to pay that designer bill. You don't have time necessarily to oversee a contractor as much as you think you do. And so sometimes things get slipped through the cracks. The work isn't as finished as to the liking that you want it to be when it's all said and done, and you actually have time to sit down and inspect the work. So working with the designer from the beginning, will make sure you get that cohesive feel throughout your house, that designer look. B, manage your contractors,
like
right?
General contractor.
Yeah, we are now the people that will manage all conversations with your contractor. Any issues, we will manage them, deal with them. Any questions they may have when it comes to what I like to call just the cherry on top, the furniture and decor. We're there on site to receive the furniture. We're there for setup. We're there to provide customer service if there's any issues. You get a delivery, something might be torn, something might be ripped. We manage all of that. I do that as a full service designer.
I think the only thing I can see with people having, because a lot of people don't know what the difference is, right? A lot of people think they contractor, you do this every day, so you should be able to design this. When Steve is like, man, I'm just here to do the work.
Right.
I'm good with my hands. I'm not good with all this other stuff.
Right.
And I think some people, when they think getting interior designing, they're like, how much money am I paying?
Right.
Like, this is going to be I'm paying the contractor, not paying the designer.
Right.
So walk us through that process. Like, how is someone saying your phone's ringing? They're like, Rita, I need help. Like,
right.
How's that consultation going?
So the first, I usually do a 15-minute discovery call, which I do for free, just to get a feel for the scope of your project, what you're thinking, the timeline. In that conversation, I also get a feeling for your budget. And then that's when we start to have conversations around managing expectation, the budget versus the design that you want, the room, and if it's adequate. And then from there, I will, if they already have a contractor and they're calling me after that contractor has been already hired, I now will introduce myself to the contractor, let them know that I am acting as managing this project, I am designing, and to coordinate with me on everything. But if they do not, and they hire me out the gate before even reaching out to a contractor, I come with a team of contractors, right?
Oh, okay.
So I have a lot of relationships from guys that are excellent. Their specialty is whether it's tiling, whether it's kitchen remodels, whether it's bathroom remodels. A lot of contractors like to tackle everything, but you can't be the master of everything. And so I've learned that through my own project that I've just done an Air BnB in Pennsylvania. We can talk about that. But through that project, and even through the project of my house here that I gutted 7-8 years ago and rebuilt, that was like a hefty 6-figure bill. But I worked with the one contractor who outsourced all the different trades, the plumber, the electrician. But I've learned now, as I'm running my business, to do things differently. So I will outsource to a guy that specifically does kitchens only. And I'll go to a plumber, I'll go to someone that does bathrooms. I will not give a general contractor the money and say, hey, do every room.
Yeah, figure it out.
Right. Yeah. No, I won't do that again. That's lessons learned, lessons learned. But yeah, so I bring on a team of guys for whatever the job may be, and I'll bring them out and we'll do initial consultation. They will do all the measurements. We'll come back with like blueprints of what the design could possibly be, and it'll all be based on your budget. Like, you never try and force someone out of the budget.
That's amazing.
What people, interior designers are so expensive, I can't afford it. Some designers charge by the square foot. They might say, X amount of dollars per square feet. I think that's just too much. Okay. Some people will charge a flat fee, and before you know it, you're like overworked and underpaid. I like to do a percentage style, which is the way most people do it. So I'll take a percentage of your overall budget. So if your budget is $50,000 as a designer, I have a percentage, and that percentage is within that 50. If you tell me, Rita, my budget is $50,000, my percentage is coming out of that. It's not above and beyond that. It's not on top of that. And now it's my responsibility to scale the rest of the budget and meet the client's needs. Make sure that every wish list item is on there, and delve out the money to all the specific trades to get the job done.
That's amazing, because I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that. I didn't know it was all put in that one budget.
It can be. I do have some designer friends that will give that percentage above and beyond the budget, right? So,
I guess it depends on the scale of work, right? problem, right?
No, I mean, to me, it doesn't. I think it's just a preference.
Okay.
You know, I feel like, because you can tell me your budget is $200,000, I'm still going to put my percentage and take it out of that $200,000. Whereas some people might just say, okay, and I want my 20% on top of that.
Yeah.
To me, that's where it's kind of like obvious to get pushback. It's like, okay, well, I had a budget of $50,000. Now I have to factor in another 20% for you.
Yeah.
And then that's where people get discouraged with the designers, right? I found with incorporating my fee out of the overall budget works best. Clients are happy. I do not get pushback. I often get a bonus at the end because they're so blown away by what I'm able to achieve within the budget.
Nice. What kind of projects are you doing? Do you do give us a breakdown of the projects that you usually work on.
So the services that I do offer are residential as well as commercial. Right now, I am working on 2 residential projects. I'm doing a 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo in Queens.
Nice.
I am also converting a Brooklyn apartment into an Air BnB that's located in a hot area over there by the Brooklyn Museum. So I'm excited to start that in a few weeks. And I'm just scouting out for commercial projects right now. Honestly, I would
Now, when you say commercial projects, what kind of commercial projects are you thinking?
Anything, you know, a new beauty salon opening, a storefront, a sneaker shop, any kind of commercial business, I can come in and just help redesign.
Amazing. I would love to see that.
Me too, Sean. Me too.
Fire.
Me too.
Let's get into your Airbnb, because the Airbnb is dope. I posted on the Strictly Free Game podcast page, so make sure you check that out.
Thank you.
That is fire.
That was a labor of love. I feel like I always get lucky stumbling into things. So when my daughter turned 18 3 years ago, we booked an Airbnb in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania, so she can have like a ski thing with her girls and her guy friends. And while we were there, my husband and I were just kind of browsing the internet and wondering how much this house costs. And because it was really cute, it was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And we were looking at the property. And as a designer, I'm always scouting, looking, and researching, right?
Of course.
So I found the house on Zillow and literally saw that it was $134,000 for this beautiful home in a great area. And then they had over 50 pictures on there. So I said to my husband, let's walk the house to see what they've done, right? So I'm like, oh, they didn't even change the fireplace cover. All they did was paint right there. And so, I just started to see how simple and minimal the changes were. And they were able to get $400 a night from me and $50 additional anybody over 6 people, right?
Oh, wow.
And so I quickly did the math and realized, Rita, what are you waiting for to start your own? And so I looked around and funny enough, I found a property that was 7 minutes from where we were staying. That Sunday morning, we were checking out. I said, hey guys, I know this is random. I left the message on the realtor firm and I said, this is random. I'm leaving today by 2 o'clock. It's last minute, but if you have anyone that can show me this property, long story short, I got a call an hour before checkout time and said, hey, I can meet you there by 2.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
Loaded up the 18-year-olds in the cars and was like, we're making the pit stop before we go back to New York. So we drove through this gated community, and as we were driving, I was kind of like, oh, I don't really like this because it's not like the house we were just at. We were able to pull up, but now we're like driving through all these woods. Being a city girl, and I'm a true from Brooklyn to now Long Island, New Yorker girl, I was like, what am I in this wilderness, right? We were like driving through the woods. And as we started to approach the house, I saw to my right this huge, breathtakingly beautiful lake. And then to the left was the house. And then to the right next to the lake was like what looked like a mansion to me. And so when I looked at our house, I was like, oh, this is like a piece of crap compared to what's across the street. Yeah. But again, potential, right? Always buy the worst house on the block.
Always.
Fix it up and increase the property value, right? And so that's exactly what I did. We went into that house. It was a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2-level house directly across from the lake.
Yeah, so
right? And so we saw it. They wanted 130. We got it for under that. I mean, the house was 2,500 before we did what we did. We paid barely over 100 for it and went to work. We literally got the whole thing. They had like a sunroom on the lower level that wasn't really insulated. It was like plastic. It was just a shack. We demoed all of that. We demoed their wraparound deck. We built a 600 square foot 2-level 4-season sunroom. The top level is just huge picturesque windows overlooking the lake. The bottom level is what I enclosed to make my second game room. There's a pool table in there, flat screen, wine bar, the whole thing down there. And then we went into work with we took down all the walls, put new sheetrock, new electrical, new plumbing, just everything. And because I'm a city girl and I'm used to seeing everything in the Poconos looking real rural and like the browns and the beiges, I wanted to bring New York to the mountains, right?
That's what I see when I see that. I'm like, this is like New York.
Black subway tile, marble granite countertops, dark wood floors, gray neutral color, exciting wallpaper. Just really wanted to have a luxury, high-end, if I'm staying in a New York loft or a hotel feeling, but I look out the windows and I'm surrounded by serenity, trees, peace, and a beautiful 433-acre lake right across from me.
Amazing. What have been some of give us just a little information on starting the Airbnb business, right? Because I think everyone is intrigued by that business.
Yeah. I went in blindly, let's be honest.
All right.
I went in from a designer's perspective, like, oh my God, this is going to be the perfect platform for me to showcase my skill set. I am always itching and excited to tear down a wall and rebuild it and redesign it, right, as I envision it. And so I initially said this is going to be a great platform to catapult my design skill above just putting furniture in, because I'm taking down walls, opening doors, and building staircases that there never were. So I was excited to do that. I didn't really think so much of it on the business side of it until the work was done, right? But because I was well prepped as an executive in radio and then, Essence and Verizon, et cetera, I have been managing multi-million-dollar budgets for clients for over 20 years, right? And so I have the business side covered. And when it was time for that, I sat down and I did all my research around what the potential is for nightly and just how to respond back to clients. I've always done great customer service. I've been successful in radio specifically because of the rapport I build with clients. So relationship building is one of my strengths. And so everyone from the realtor to the people in the community were like, oh, when you first have an Airbnb, you have to have X amount of reviews and before you might start getting one booking. So I would recommend you have some of your friends book it at a really low rate and then start to give you ratings so that you can get momentum. Yeah. We listed that property, and I swear to God, on a Wednesday, by Friday, we already had 3 bookings.
Wow, really? That's awesome. That's
people,
amazing.
and I was like, thank you, God. There's something to say about a beautiful design,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
We listed it at brand new. We had professional photographer come in and do a video and do photo shoot, and all we did,
so
honestly,
you did it the right way.
Yeah. What we did was just kind of displayed every room, freshly done, and even if they didn't book, people were inquiring, going, oh my God, it's so beautiful. Your home is nice. And so it worked. My initial plan of using the Airbnb as a design catapult for my business worked. And ironically, we're booking and making money every month.
Nice.
So, we're literally booked out through June through July right now. Nice. Every weekend is booked from June through August, sorry.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the winter season. I'm actually going back up there because when we listed in February, it was winter, the lake was frozen, and we didn't really do our outdoor design. And so I'm going up there next week to start working on designing the deck, because we built a huge 800 square foot wraparound deck above and beyond the 2-story sunroom.
That's facing the lake.
It is like a party space. I'm telling you, no smoking in my house. But from the sunrooms to the game room, I have a game room on the inside as well. It's all insulated, it's all beautiful, it's all airy, and it's all open. And it's just a fun time. The Poconos is seasonal. In the winter, you're locked in. You will not be short of things to do in my house. The only thing we do not have in there is a hot tub.
Okay, which that's too much maintenance anyway. You don't want
that. And when COVID hit, I was kind of like, I'm not doing the hot tub anymore. Just wanted to be sanitary for my clients and make sure that we give them the cleanest environment.
Makes sense. How are you? That's crazy. That's crazy. But
that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's dope. But you say you're designing people's Airbnb spaces now as well. So do you think you started getting business from when people started seeing your space, or is it like a correlation of just you doing whatever you do and now they see this?
I think that, I know for a fact that this one client that I have that reached out to me, it was because he saw the pictures of the design that we did, right? Nice. He was talking to a mutual friend that we have, and he was talking about his vision, and the mutual friend shared the link for the Airbnb that we've done, and then he immediately said, give Rita my number. and couldn't wait for me to get out there, so I was out there last Friday, and I'm gonna convert it. Of course, my ultimate goal and wish would be, while obviously designing residential properties and commercial properties, I would love to partner up with a builder, contractor, and redesign houses that new build, right? I would love to get with a realtor company, design firm, and stage houses, right? There's a big deal and importance to selling a property when it's already staged.
I was gonna say that because a lot of people don't want to even invest in that, but that's what the initial, when people see your photos, they want to envision, because a lot of people don't have vision. Right. They want to envision themselves there.
Right.
Give us a little insight on that.
Right. So for me, I get it. You're buying a house, that's a huge expense in itself, right? but it's you just have to commit 100%. I think that because a lot of people, and there's no fault of it, they just don't have that forefront vision to see, okay, well, where would my family sit if we're watching a movie? Where are we going to eat? How are we going to set this? Where would this go? It's easier for a realtor that's selling a house to sell that house if a client could come in and see, oh, this is where we would hang out. This is where the kids would study and do homework.
Yeah.
This is what the kitchen looks like. Oh, this is the master bedroom. Oh, I could convert this into an office. So if they see that, they're quicker to pull that trigger and buy, because now they could envision themselves in that space.
Yeah.
So I think staging is important, and it's worth factoring in that little percentage or difference to help you to go a long way.
Yeah, and it's always going to get you more value anyway.
It's always going to get you more value. You know, I speak a lot about, like, a lot of the projects that I've done where I've done a full renovation. It's always been about going in those neighborhoods that have so much potential, that have these big, nice houses, or, you know, nice apartment buildings, and just finding the one like my house that was like the ugliest on the block, right? And the siding was baby blue. When the contractor came out, he was like, I don't even think they make the siding anymore, right? Like they were in my house going, oh my God, your plaster on the wall looks pregnant. The plaster is buckling. It was like, it was a horror story. It was so old. But when I had the realtor come in there, I think last year in 2020, just to kind of appraise the house, she was blown away by what we've done. She was like, are you kidding me? Why aren't you designing full time? Like, you need to quit your job and you need to give this a full thing. And I mean, I've increased the value of my house by like over 400,000 at this point. 7 years later, I've built over 400K in equity.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so there's something to say in investing in a designer, right?
Yeah.
And I lived there. It wasn't a house that I was trying to flip. So for people that are in their homes and they want to remodel or update, it makes sense to bring a designer in, one that can keep your cost minimum, but also increase your value in your property. And that's what I do. You know, as a girl coming from Brooklyn that didn't grow up with like the riches and the silver spoon, I've always been passionate and gravitating towards the under-marginalized, underprivileged community, right? If I could get a job with like HUD, where I'm designing their houses for Section 8 people or just low-income families that are hardworking but just low income, and give them something that's a step or two up from builder grade, that would be a dream of mine, right?
Wow.
So that's ultimately, like, I am not trying, I've made a lot of money in my career in media. I love money, who doesn't? But this for me, interior design is more of a passion.
It's more
right?
passion. You can tell the way you talk about it.
Yeah, I want to help. Like, I remember growing up in Brooklyn, the one bedroom with my mom and my two brothers. I want to be able to, oh, you know, you bought a house and you're moving from your apartment or whatever your Section 8, your projects, you're moving into a house, but it shouldn't have to just be beige walls and brown counters. Like, it's you, just to see gray subway tile instead of black or instead of white is a huge difference. It's all about the finishing, and I would do that affordably. So I specialize in two things: working with builders and really redesigning the space, and then the furniture to me is just a cherry on top. But then I also specialize in creating these beautiful spaces for less budgets. So I like to call it Lux for Less. So luxury lifestyle for less money.
I like that.
So I'm like hashtagging Lux for Less. It doesn't mean that I will not work with a $300,000 budget. It just means that if your budget is $10,000 and you want to do over 2 bedrooms, I will give you that $10,000 bedroom, but it'll look like you paid $25,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can tell the passion. I love to see the passion.
Thank you, Sean.
Fire, man.
I'm excited.
That is fire. Are you working with any realtors?
I am not.
We gotta start doing some business together.
I was gonna say I am not until you tell me that we're gonna work together.
We gotta start doing some business together. We gotta start doing it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We gotta start doing some stuff together. What's the goal for the company itself? Because is it only you right now?
Right now, it's only me. The goal for the company, we are very, very, and I mean, like I said, I've always been doing it on the side, part-time. January of this year is when I decided to leave the full-time job. That was my security cushion, and just go out on faith, right? If these last 2 years of going through the pandemic and just all of the social injustice and just everything we've gone through, if I don't take advantage of the time now to kind of make myself grow, then why am I here, right? I've spent 22 years in media helping clients grow their companies, making so much money, providing business strategies. I need to put that effort into growing for myself at this point, right? And so when I made that decision, it was a hard one, Sean. Like, I walked away from a huge salary,
Remember, I used to work in the building. I remember like, damn, I gotta start talking to Rita about these career paths that I'm trying to.
It was draining me, like, you know, and so I just felt like now was the time for me to make that same mark, but in the design world. And again, for me, it's passion, and it's more about, I'm
Passion
always,
over
I don't care
profit
how much
sometimes,
money
yeah.
I make, I am always going to be that girl that grew up on Crown Street in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, in a one bedroom with her mom and her two brothers that always wanted more, right? And so
Yeah.
I definitely want to be the designer that can provide that for people. I don't care if you're hardworking and your income is low, it doesn't mean that you should have to live without, or that you should have to live like you don't have it,
Yeah.
right? And so any little thing that I can do to enhance and to help those people feel better about themselves in living situations is my ultimate goal.
Amazing.
And so with that being said, I have been looking and I'm still looking for properties. I want to start buying and flipping houses.
Okay.
So until, real estate companies, builder companies recognize my greatness and what I can bring to the table, I am just going to create my own way, right? And so I have been looking for properties like I found in Pennsylvania, locally in this market, so that I can buy low, renovate it, and then hopefully sell it to someone that's, lower income.
Wow. Okay. We're gonna make that happen.
Yeah.
We're gonna make that happen. We gotta start doing some business together.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
That's-
I'm really passionate. I mean, obviously I'll sell and work with anyone, but I'm really, really passionate about Black home ownership and doing whatever I can to help them.
Well, look what you
get
said
there.
you did for yourself. You increased your property value by $400,000. That's a big deal.
I did the same thing with Pennsylvania. We had, we got an estimate on it last week. Like I said, we barely over 100,000 we paid for it, and right now we can sell it. The realtor was like, if you want to sell it right now, you can list for $499.9, and I'm like, what? You know, but we're like, okay, we don't need to do that. Let's
Are you
just
trying to grow the
Airbnb it.
portfolio, the Airbnb portfolio a little bit more?
Yeah, I have been looking for the last 2 years while under construction with the one that we built for other properties, but the market has changed, as you know, being a
Market
realtor.
shifted, yeah.
Where you would have been able to get a $50,000 or $60,000 house in Pennsylvania, put another $30,000 to $50,000 into it, you can't find that anymore.
No.
Because the market is so on the seller side, those same $50,000 or $60,000 houses that you would have to go in and gut are being sold for $130,000 minimum, right? And so you have to now factor in how much is it worth it if I put in another $50,000? How am I going to make the money back if I sell it? And things like that. So I am shopping around.
Good. Well, hopefully the market's going to shift a little bit. It's going to
It's been
correct
2 years,
itself.
so it needs to start to shift.
Yeah, it's going to correct itself eventually. What advice would you give to someone that's looking to purchase an Airbnb? Should they be looking at location? Should they be looking? What's the biggest factor when doing the Airbnb?
Location. It's all, whether you're going to live somewhere, whether you're doing an Airbnb where people are going to want to come. It's all about location, right? For me, the reason why I did like that spur of the moment, no brainer purchase in the Poconos is because it's the Poconos, right? 12 months out of the year, 9 months out of the year, they're busy. You're gonna have all the people coming in the winter that wanna hike, that wanna ski. I mean, it's like ski country up there.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I mean, you see toddlers jumping out of the truck with full-on ski gear on, and I'm like, holy crap, like it's a lifestyle, right? And so when I saw that, I was like, this is a no-brainer. And then on those spring, summer months, people wanna go up there because of the lakes and the indoor water parks. And
I'm a
just the
city
outdoor
boy, so when I
life.
think of Poconos, I'm still thinking of those champagne glasses. So when I saw your design, I'm like, and the Poconos, I'm thinking
Not Erie Lodge. You know how funny that is? It's actually 3 minutes from my house.
That's what I think when I think Poconos. I'm like, oh my, I'm
We
like you
all
said,
thought that.
wood
And I've never been, yeah.
cheesy red carpet. I'm like, oh, that's what I think
Still
of.
the heart.
The heart bed.
No, what people are doing in Poconos right now is Airbnb. I mean,
That's
in my
amazing.
gated community alone, as we were like under construction, just a quick thing, I called my management to say, hey, we're almost up. I can't wait. What's going on? Are people here? She was like, honey, we are getting 12 to 15 applications a day for Airbnb. It's so busy up here that people are literally renting a motel for the weekend and Airbnb in their house to make that money.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I was excited about the potential, but I was also upset that my house is taking so long to get up here. I'm like, I'm missing money.
Yeah.
But no, it's a huge potential in the Poconos. It's 2 hours outside of the city, and you feel like you're in another world.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, it was a no-brainer. We could definitely sell and make triple what we've paid, but that's not what we want to do. We're building a legacy. We have a 21-year-old and an almost 17-year-old. We want them to be able to go up there with their
I
friends.
can't believe they're that old already.
I know.
I guess I've known them for like 10 years. I remember when they
know.
were getting on the bus in front of the building. And I'm
You're so
looking
right.
at photos. I'm like, about to graduate
I
college.
know.
Like,
Some of the
how old
pictures
am I
my
gonna
daughter sends me from college, and I'm just like, I'm still your mom, right? Like, I love you, but we're not that close. But, Sean, you have 2 girls. prepare yourself. Trust me. Prepare yourself.
I'm not ready for that.
I had no problems with her as a teenager. It's like now that she's in college and she's 21, she's like, but I'm 21. And it's like, okay, I get you, but you're still my child, right? And so be prepared.
Oh, man. I'm not ready for that. I'm definitely not ready for that yet.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
But I appreciate you coming here. You gave me so much knowledge. We're definitely going to do some business. We're going to do some business.
I would love to do some business with you, Sean. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I was able to provide a lot of information.
Of course.
So if anyone is interested in booking me for a design consult or just to check out my style of design and the work that I've done, you can follow me on Instagram at forteliving_lux. That's FORTE living_lux. Check out the project for the Airbnb. Check out a cool boho guest bedroom I just did. A lot of content. You're going to see a lot of renovation content as well as design content. So
we got to do the content. We got to get some content in there.
Yeah.
We got to get some content going. Because content is king. That's dope.
Yes, content is a lot of work.
It is. It's a
job.
It's
so funny that selling media and working at Hot 97 and WBLS for 15, 16 years and selling a lot of digital and on-air time, I'm not the one behind the scenes creating the content for the client. Yeah. But now running my own business and trying to do content, you literally need to be your own photographer, videographer, editor. It literally is a full-time job.
It's a lot.
So I'm looking for a social media manager because it's not me. I don't have the patience for it, but I need it desperately.
We got to hook up. We'll hook you up with some people.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you for coming. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button. This episode is by far one of my favorites because this is one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
I appreciate you, brother, and I love you. I thank you. I love what you're doing. Congratulations on your real estate career. You are growing. Leaving the management company, which was a nice, cushy job, and pursuing your own thing was the best thing you could have ever done. You inspired me to do the same. It took me a little longer to do it, but we're here. Yeah. I'm inspired by you. I'm motivated. I love what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you. I told you she's my favorite person. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Sean. Is it done?
That was amazing. I told you to kill it.
I talk too much.
No.
I was like, take a breath in between, Vita. Shut up.
No, I told you all about you.
I get nervous. I just.
That was dope. You gave a lot of information.